What is your take on all this? How we got here? How do you expect the reception to be? All that.
I think it's going to be mixed. I mean, he should receive a great ovation. I mean, the last 7 years, it gave people a lot of thrills there. And I think first time up, he deserves to be thanked for the effort and the production that he gave Washington. After that, he's a member of the Phillies, and he blew up like everybody else. But I understand it will be mixed. Part of it is people just like to be contrarians. There's something, quote-unquote, cool about getting up there and booing and get your picture on SportsCenter and have a dumb sign. I get that. But overall, I think the majority of fans will be cheering this guy. Mixed, but mostly I'd say 60-40 cheers.
That's close. That's close to 50-50, Tom.
Yeah, I mean, apparently there's a lot of Philly fans coming down here.
You throw in 5 to 10 Philly fans, 5 to 10K Philly fans, man, you could have it could overwhelm you.
Yeah, but I think it's amazing how the Phillies fans have turned out for this. A lot of them bought tickets a long time ago for it, but there's nothing wrong. I think it's a classy thing to do. I mean, as I said, the second at bat, everything changes, right? I mean, no more thanks, no more greeting cards and flowers from Bryce Harper after that. But,
right.
He's a member of the Phillies. So I think it'd be a cool moment. I really would. People would get up there and it'd be 90-10, but probably not.
I agree with you. All right, so let's sort of talk about the process there a little bit one last time. As we went through all of this, we learned through, some reporting. Barry Svrluga in particular wrote an article in the Post yesterday. I guess it came out today in the paper about sort of the process of it. And, I guess what really struck me, and we knew this, but Bryce really did not want to go through this again. And I'm shocked with players are so desperate typically to become a free agent that this was such a pain in the butt for him. And he's talked about it. He feels like he's been asked about it ever since he was drafted. We saw how he performed in the first half of last season, that he was willing to give up the opt-outs, the opportunity to make more average annual value. I think he left a lot of money on the table, frankly, to be honest, because he simply didn't want to go through this process again.
Yeah, it's an interesting point, right, because we're so used to seeing it the other way around. First of all, I think the moment Washington made him that offer, the $300, with so much deferred money, deferred out until he was 60 years old, he was done with the Nationals. I mean, you just don't make an offer like that. In fact, Scott Boras did not return any kind of feedback on that offer for the next 6 weeks.
Right.
That's how much that offer went out there, as I thought it was just window dressing. There was no way Harper, who's been waiting for free agency since he was 16 years old, would take a contract with that much deferred money. The net present value of that deal is more than about $150 million less than what he signed for. It was just not an offer meant to be accepted.
Right.
So I thought at that point he was going to be on the market. Then what happened was, to me, it's really interesting, guys. I've known Bryce since he was 16. When I wrote the story when he was on the cover of the magazine.
Right.
Really, since the time he was 10, he's been a hired gun. Travel teams would hire him and put him on a plane for a weekend tournament in Texas. He'd go to California.
Insane.
That's been his life, right? He left high school early. He left college early. From day one, he got drafted by the Nationals. What was the talk? Where's he going next, right? Is it the Yankees, is it the Dodgers, is it the Cubs? From day one. And now I think the fact that he is in Philadelphia demanding or telling Scott he did not want an opt-out clause. He wanted to put roots down. That's important to him. I mean, it's the difference between renting and buying your first home. He bought his first home. He's putting roots down. I think there's a tremendous amount of freedom right now in Bryce's mind that this is where he wants to be. More importantly, this is where he will be. It's no longer about what's next. It's about what's right now, and it's going to stay that way for 13 years. So he's a little bit different than most free agents who want the big bite of the apple, get the bidding war. Guys don't mind going through it. I think for him it was about stability.
What about the Nats approach that they just can't – they got a lot of superstars and potential superstars. They just can't afford all of them. They're not the Yankees. They got a lot of money, but they're not the Yankees. So they had to pick and choose. They're going to let Bryce walk, so hopefully they can keep Rendon and these other guys. Do you like that plan, their sort of idea that the sum of our parts will be equal to or greater than just keeping Bryce?
Yeah, I do like that plan. It's a very logical plan. Listen, if you sit down and you break down Bryce Harper's production in terms of WAR, he's not a $330 million player. But again, I think he offers you more than just the WAR number. And last year, his WAR number cratered because he was miscast in center field. and he made sure he stayed healthy throughout the season. He was not going to smash into a wall chasing a line drive in an 8-0 game in the 7th inning. So I get where if you break it down sabermetrically, it's easy to say he's not worth the money. You weren't willing to commit those kinds of dollars. You can essentially reassess those dollars much better elsewhere with multiple players. I get that. And it makes sense, and I'm sure there were other teams who thought that way about Bryce Harper. So it's an easy position to defend. But I will tell you this, guys. Losing Bryce Harper, don't just say we're okay without him, that we're not going to miss him. Again, when you have a fulcrum in your lineup, a guy who's going to draw attention like nobody else, you miss that. On a much bigger scale, because I'm not saying Bryce did what David Ortiz did, the Red Sox cratered when they lost David Ortiz. Just having that guy in the middle of the clubhouse, middle of the lineup, big personality, he's going to grab a lot of attention, let other people just go about their ways. The spotlight's going to fall on other people now, and some will respond, some won't respond. That's just human nature.